responsibility. Strengthen as much as you can the muscle tissue around that area that's compromised. If we're talking about shoulder, strengthen deltoid. What's across the front, pec. What's across the back, trapezius. Get some other muscles. You don't generally have a whole lot of musculature underneath. You have serratus anterior that passes underneath. You have lats that pass underneath. But they really don't protect the under portion of that joint area. And last time you saw how vulnerable that shoulder is. It doesn't have a whole lot of structural integrity. Right? So if you are dealing with a client that's had a past dislocation, be very careful about movement above the shoulder. Use lightweight, slow movement. Right? So for shoulder, military presses, arm raises, all of these kind of things. Lightweight, slow movement, build up strength slowly. And that's really about all you can do as far as a personal trainer with somebody who's had a dislocation. Okay? Question?
What would you do for like an ankle, for example? Like last year I cracked the whole bone in here.
Okay.
And then I was told to do swimming, so I did that for like the first 6 months, and then light aerobics here and there. But if I go down to a full extension, I can still go on both legs equally, but I feel a little strain on the left one. That's the one that cracked.
Okay, what are you talking individually about that?
Oh.
Let's say you have a client and he had a previous dislocation, but he did not tell you about it. Would you be liable if they were to get re-injured?
Okay. What I'm going to say at the end of all of our lectures is, as a personal trainer, there are several written forms that you need to have your clients fill out and you need to keep and maintain for your personal record. One of them is a medical history, a written medical history. And on that, you're going to ask for fractures and dislocations and cardiovascular difficulties and all of these other kinds of things. And if he does not reveal that he had a dislocation in the past, then he really can't see you because he did not disclose everything that you've asked for. The second form I'm going to ask you to have, or suggest that you have, is medical release. So that you'll have the client go to a medical professional, and the medical professional will say, yes, it's okay for this person to participate in a program of muscular strength, muscular endurance, cardiovascular endurance, flexibility exercises. And you might also want to include, is there any past medical history that would prevent exercising in any of these areas? You know, keep it as general as possible so there's not something. Has this person ever had a shoulder dislocation? Well, if they've had a thumb dislocation, didn't ask for it, was it put on, then you're in the bathroom. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do the medical release and the medical history, so that's going to cover you in that situation. I'm also going to suggest you always have liability insurance. There are organizations that provide liability insurance. It's like $100, $200 a year. If you're in this field, it is well worth your money to spend it, to be covered, peace of mind, so that on down the road, there's not going to be a problem. As long as we're talking about that, let's talk about also employment. Different health clubs employ you in different roles. There are some health clubs that will hire you, train you, and you will be a permanent employee or a full-time employee for that health club as a personal trainer. That's somewhat rare. A lot of the times, clubs will hire you as a personal trainer on a consultant basis. So you will come in and you'll train and you'll split your costs. So split the cost. 60 goes to the health club and 40% goes to you, or something of that nature. It's going to be a split. So you're kind of an independent contractor per se, but kind of under the guise of the health club. The other extreme is you just go into the health club and use their facilities. They're not going to cover you at all. And some of the health clubs will say, well, if you're not employed by us as an independent contractor, as an employee, you can't work in that manner here. If you're working totally on your own, you have all of the liability responsibility. If you're working as an independent contractor in a health club, the health club really should cover you as long as they are getting part of the okay. However, we've heard of deep pockets. Anybody that sues somebody else, they're going to go after everybody. So even though maybe you're an employee of a health club or an independent contractor, they're still going to sue you personally. Always have liability insurance, no matter what. Okay? Other questions? Okay, let's go to the movement. Okay. When we move in a front and back direction, that's either flexion or extension. When we bend in a joint, elbow and knee is really very easy to understand. When we bend the elbow, that's flexion. When we bend the shoulder joint forward, that's flexion. When we bend the hip joint forward, that's flexion. When we bend the knee joint backward, that's flexion. When we bend the spine forward, spine flexion. Okay?
Spine flexion.
When we turn to our starting position, standing up straight, that's spine extension.
Spine extension.
When we have our elbow that we're straightening, that's elbow extension. Okay? When we move from the midline, we want to either move away or toward. When we move away from the midline, put it straight outside and push it and stuff it. Right. When we move away from the side, it's going to be abduction. When we move towards the midline, it's adduction. Whether it's down here or horizontally, arms, legs, away is abduction, forward is adduction. Okay? Anything else? Kinds of joints, hinge joint, ball and socket, pivot joint. Other questions?
You said there was two forms when you're moving your arm this way and this way. There was two names that you gave for it.
Okay, we have a concentric contraction and eccentric contraction.
Oh.
Same muscle working, shortening, lengthening, pulling, and breaking.
Okay.
Basically, muscles only contract. Okay? So this is a shortening contraction, this is a lengthening contraction.
Okay, I got you.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for you guys to work out.
Okay.
All right, go work out.